Hi Stephen, so I thought I would record a video for you to show you what I do to make my drums work on my computer. So here is my electronic drum set, and basically I take on the back, just down at the bottom here, there is a Midi out, which looks like that. And so that just plugs into there, and then runs up to this little unit here, which connects to my computer over this USB cable. And that goes into the little, there's a Midi in on there, but my phone doesn't want to focus on it. There it is. So basically this little unit is essentially a big USB sound card. It's a little mixer in it as well, but as part of that it's got a Midi input. You don't have to use one of these. You can also just get like straight USB to Midi cables, but this just lets me do audio output out of the same thing as the Midi input, which helps. And also then I can run some music into that when I want to just use this. Sometimes I take a little mixer as well. Anyway, that runs into my computer, which is running a bit of software called Reaper. That's the logo. Yeah, Reaper. Which is free. Well, it's technically you are supposed to pay for it, but it's got like a 60-day free trial, but then the software doesn't stop working after 60 days. You just need to like click a thing to say you understand you're still on trial. And then into that runs a plugin called this MT Power Drum Kit 2. This is free as well, and completely free. Again, they ask for donations, which you can pay, and that kind of unlocks it. Otherwise you have a nag screen at the start of it. Installing the plugin into Reaper is a little bit of an involved process. It involves finding the right folder on your computer, but I'm pretty sure there's a guide on the MT Power Drum Kit website for that. And then basically just you have to go into the little settings down here, and then this gives you a list of all the possible drums you have, and then Midi sends things over Midi notes. I don't know if you've used Midi before, but essentially each of these is a Midi note. So the kick is on 36, snare's on 31, and if you find when you plug your kit in that some of them aren't on the right thing, then you can just click on the right thing. So say my snare was not right, I could just click on snare, and then assuming it's all working, if I hit snare, then it will learn that as the snare note. So when, say I actually wanted my ride cymbal to be my snare note, I could just click that and it would change it to that. But I'm going to change it back to my snare drum, because funnily enough, I want it to be my snare drum. And you got a bunch on there and there as well. Yeah, and then when you start, hitting things on here, you can see it realises that they're all up there. And there is sound coming out of here at the moment, but my headphones are plugged into it, so you can't hear. And then as part of this, you get a little mixer, so you can change all the volumes of everything, which is nice. And then you can also set up down here different outputs for them. So what's happening is, as you can see here, I've got my kick on output 1, my snare on output 2, I've got all my cymbals on output 3, and I've got all my toms on output 4. And then that means that when we're in Reaper, so basically when you add the plugin into Reaper, which again I think there's a guide for online. Oh, and I forgot to say, you've also got to go into some options in Reaper, which are down here, options, preferences, audio, Midi devices, and then you've got to just right click your Midi device and enable input for it. And then you can select it as the input for the thing, and it will be happy and good. And then when you hit the right thing, so if I start tapping my snare, my kick, that comes through on input 1. If I do my snare, that's coming through on input 2, which is actually 3, and then cymbals and toms. And then that means if I've got a multi-channel interface with loads of outputs on it, I can give different outputs for kick, snare, toms, cymbals, which is good. But it also means that you can record directly into Reaper, and then you've got your separate channels on that, so you can always mix it again afterwards if you need to. You know, if it sounds good in your ears when you record, but then when you go back to listen to it afterwards, there's too much kick in it, you can just turn the kick down, which is quite good. And yeah, that's kind of it. But at the moment, I've just got it running out of just 2 channels out of the thing. So yes, I thought it might be easier to make a video. Maybe it's been more confusing. I don't know. But essentially, all you need is the MIDI output from your drum brain over a MIDI cable, or into your MIDI interface, or if you're using one of these, then you can just take it straight out of there and then just run the USB into your computer. And then you need a piece of software called Reaper, which is free on a 60-day trial, but then you can use it again afterwards. Piece of software called MT Power Drum Kit 2, which is free, but unless you donate, you have a little naggling screen on it, which is fine. And then you can record. The only thing is with MT Power Drum Kit is you can't change the drum sounds, at least not easily without kind of hacking into it. The sounds that are on there are all right. The kick is a bit flat, but you can actually, with Reaper, put your own effects on. So I've actually EQ'd my kick, so it's got a bit more oomph to it. Yeah, there's other softwares you can get. You can get Easy Drummer or Superior Drummer, which you can get different sounds on, but they're expensive, and everything here is free. So that's why I've gone for that. Cool. Any questions? Let me know.